Let's welcome to the show a man with two hands and a fighting chance, James Ellsworth. James, how are you, buddy?
I'm good, man. Just left the bar, having a good time this summer.
All
So,
right, good. Good to hear. I guess let's start off with the match you had with Braun. Did you get booked that night just as an extra?
yes, extra talent. I tell everybody, like all the indie guys, I'm like, you got to send your stuff in to be an extra talent because you never know what it might lead to. How many security guards have you seen go on to become WWE superstars?
Yeah.
So if you're out of sight, you're out of mind. Got to send your stuff in. You got to get booked. Anybody can do it. It's really not that hard. So, yeah, absolutely. I was an extra talent that night at Wrestle Braun.
So you just show up, you have no idea what's going on. When I did TV in the 90s, it was much different than when you did it. What was like TV expected of you? Like when you got there, did you have to work out? Like what did you have to do?
So they would have matches before the show, just so the producers could look at the guys and see how they were. Like I got my spot. It's the biggest compliment I've ever got in the wrestling business. Arn Anderson was the producer for the match, and he got all six of us extras together, and he said, "Whoever throws the best punch is going to get the match." And he started with me because I was the smallest guy. He goes, "You're the smallest guy. Let's see what you got." So I threw a punch, and he goes, "I don't have to see anybody else. You got the match." I'm like, "What?" Like, it was the biggest compliment I ever got. I mean, Arn Anderson saying you could throw a punch, like it doesn't get any better than that.
Right, right. How was Braun to work with?
Well, back then he was green brawn, so he was like stiff and everything hurt, but great guy, fun to be around. Like at that point I'd been wrestling 14 years and he only been wrestling maybe a year. So like I mean he was I mean on TV, if you've done TV before, they gotta hit you hard because the cameras are right up on you. And boy, I've never been hit that hard in my life still to this day. So
That splash he gave you in the corner looked a little snug.
well, the hardest I've ever been hit is when he bent me over and he clubbed me in the chest. It felt like he took a 2x4 and hit me in the chest, which I'm not crying about it. It's wrestling. It hurts.
Right.
And I'm glad it went down that way because it looked so good. So I love the match. It's the best match I ever had because I got a job off of it. It's the best match I've ever had. So
So how'd you get a job? Like,
right after that match, I get to the back and they're like, "Hey, Vince wants to see you," and I'm like, "Oh crap!" Because they tell you as an extra talent, you're not supposed to walk down the ramp. You're supposed to go around the ramp and into the ring. And I walked down the ramp and I got in the ring, and the referee, we call him Spider. Spider was like, you weren't supposed to walk down the ramp." I'm like, "Oh crap, I forgot. I'm sorry." So we do the match, and I get to the back, and Arn Anderson goes, "Hey man, you did a great job. Vince wants to see you." And I'm like, "Oh my God, Vince is going to yell at me for walking down the ramp." I was like, "Oh, I'm in trouble. I'm never going to wrestle here again. This is going to be my only time." So I go see Vince, and he said, "Hey, man, your verbiage was great. Your facial expressions were great. Your selling was great. I have no choice but to hire you." And I'm
wow.
like, and like, this is a minute after I just got the biggest ass whooping of my life. I'm like, I'm looking at him, and I'm like, "Thank you, sir." And Triple H walks up to me and he goes, "He's not kidding, man. He's going to hire you." And I just like was froze. I was like, it was like a movie. Like I was just frozen, like looking at these guys, like, okay. And then he had me sign something saying I wouldn't do anybody else's TV when I and he gave me a $2,000 bonus. Like
Wow.
he said, "Here, sign this saying you won't do anybody else's TV, and we're gonna get your contract written up." He said, "And here's a $2,000 bonus." This is Vince. I'm like, as an extra talent, you're coming to your arena that day thinking you might not do anything. You might do like
Right.
a security spot or what. You get a match, which is already so cool. And then you get signed, and Vince McMahon's like, "Here's $2,000. Here, sign this thing." You're like, "What? What?" Craziest day of my life. I'll never forget it. Like, the best day of my life, man. It really was. It was the best day of my life. So,
And it was at a time where there wasn't a lot of those matches. So it just you were there at the right night.
yeah. So afterwards, I was the first one to do a job to Braun Strowman. They did like six more. And Vince was like, "Let's see if there's any more hidden gems like this." He's like, "This guy's great." He's like, "Let's see if there's any." And like, they didn't hire anybody else. He
Right.
saw six more guys. And he's like, "Nah, man." He's like, "This guy's just like a needle in a haystack." Like Vince really, really like thought a lot of me, and like that's why I never say a bad word of Vince McMahon. He gave me my dream. He was always straightforward with me. He always treated me very well, and like I don't know. It was just it was one of those things. I'll be 40 years old this year, So obviously, I grew up a WWE fan. I grew up a Vince McMahon fan, and I always respected the guy. And then I'm like, man, this guy's really like giving me everything I've ever wanted. So you can't get a bad word out of me about Vince McMahon. So
James, anything you want to plug? Any social media?
yeah, like check my wrestling promotion out at acwtix.com. Check me out on Instagram at James Elza Wrestling, Twitter or X, they call it these days, at Real Ellsworth. And thank you, man. Dwayne says, like I told you before we got on here, Dwayne says nothing but good things about you. So I appreciate you.
Awesome.
He's a great guy. So if you're a friend of his, you're a friend of mine. Take care. God bless. Remember, any man with two hands has a fighting chance.